saddest realities in life is that once something or someone, including businesses, professional sports teams, bands, even people's own personal success, once it becomes large enough, it's easy to collapse within the weight of itself. It's hard for people to stay hungry after reaching their dreams, so they often fall short of capturing that lightning in a bottle that was captured in their origins. Find me an artist whose 10th album is better than their first. Find me the sequels that beat the impact of their original. They're out there, but they're most definitely the outliers. The sad reality is that all things live and all things die, including fictional monsters. You can't blame New Line Cinemas or Wes Craven for Freddy Krueger doing hip-hop music videos and hosting TV shows. It was bound to happen. Jason Voorhees on the Arsenio Hall show in 1989 had the same reach as Abbott and Costello meeting Frankenstein in 1948. Once something becomes profitable, rest assured there'll be someone there trying to milk it for everything it's worth. Luckily, horror as a genre has grown, and this reburn process has become a necessary act in order to keep the genre relevant with the new audience, with a different set of fears. This certainly wasn't always the case, though. After all the Universal monsters became watered down at the end of the 40s, not many production companies were interested in making horror. That was until our friends across the pond at Bray Studios started making Hammer films. The British take on classic gothic horror tales were a breath of fresh air and a jolt of life to a dying genre. Hammer took scary movies serious. That added an authenticity that hadn't been there since the 30s. Without this, I'm not sure our brand would have lived on to its current state. Not to mention, Hammer gave us the best acting duo in horror history with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Throughout their careers, these two starred in over 22 films together. The synergy created by these two is spellbinding. They steal any scene they're in together. They are peanut butter and jelly. Today, we're going to discuss the film that kicked off the whole thing. Terence Fisher's 1957 classic, The Curse of Frankenstein. This movie is a cornerstone to the foundation we love, and it's our honor to finally break it down with you guys. So, without any further introduction, here is our take on The Curse of Frankenstein. Boom! Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion. And back again for another week clapping them cheeks.
What is your name?
My name?
Yeah, what's your name?
Oh, well,
you forget to say your name. You always go like this, okay? This is what you do. Stop. All right. You're messing up your whole intro.
It's a new year, I forgot.
I know, you're messing up your whole intro here. You go. You do a little thing back and go, boom!
Tough acting tonight. See, this guy goes here.
Shut up.
Rest in peace, John Madden.
You do. Boom. Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey. And back again for another week, clapping them cheeks, the best producer in the whole wide world, Mr. Ozark Mark. Ozark Mark, what's going on?
Not much, man. What's going on with you? That's usually what you say.
That is usually what I say. See, that's how it goes.
Well, guys, we started off a new year, even though, I was rusty.
New year, new me.
Watch out, world, because once you see listen to me, you're not even going to be ready. I'm going to be doing
dude, this is the most annoying time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks they're going to better their pathetic lives and have most of them won't, because you're just going to go back and doing the same thing you're always going to do.
Unless you're already a person who's bettering your life.
You're not going to do it. You're going to do it for about a week, and then you're going to be like, fuck this, and you're going to go back to your usual shit. So shut up about your new year, new you. Nobody cares. Anyway.
Mark, but for real, John Madden did die.
John Madden did die, dude, and that's when men cried.
Dude, that's super sad.
That will make a man cry.
Like, real quick, though, what's the first Madden you remember playing as a kid?
Dude, I don't even remember.
I think the first one I owned was 97.
It's somewhere in it was in it's a 91. I don't know. I forget.
Yeah, man. That's fucking crazy. Rest in peace, dawg.
Right. Yep.
Like, I'm just saying,
I missed that
like,
guy.
Aside from football, he's the only other cat that really came in with boom, And, like, Sloppy Horror shows a lot of love
There's a boom at least dropped every episode, if not multiple booms.
There's a lot of booms.
And I feel like that was stolen from John Madden. Even if it was us laughing at John Madden's commercials, it was a lot of fun. You and I have laughed over John Madden many a times, and the tough acting to acting shit is just too much. And, of course we have to use it, so that sucks. But we'll honor him. We'll keep the boom alive. But folks, Ozark Mark is back from vacation. First off, tell the folks, how was vacation? Where'd you go, Alaska?
Yeah.
Mark wouldn't go. I don't know. You might go to Alaska.
I would go to Alaska. I'd fucking be happy in Alaska.
Yeah.
Except, actually, no, because that's where aliens are. So, no, I'm not going to Alaska.
Oh, shit, dude, the fourth kind.
Yeah. If that's movies taught me anything, it's don't go to Alaska.
Yeah, that's shit true.
But no, I went down to Panama City, Florida for a week, and it was nice. I drank for 6 days a week, and I sat on the beach. And it was fun because it was mainly cloudy most of the time, but it was still warm. Like, it's still like 70 degrees, you know what I mean? But I fucked up because I'm telling you this. Because the last day, it was like the sunniest day. So that's like the last day. It's like, all right, I'm going to go out there. And I didn't drink, but I sat on the beach. But it was sunny the whole time. So I used the spray sunscreen. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a man, and there's something weird about just using regular sunscreen out in public, just rubbing yourself down. Like, I don't want to do that.
It's so thick.
I know.
Like you got lather.
And then the sand sticks to you and all that shit, so no. But I used the spray tan lotion.
Uh-huh.
Okay? The spray sunscreen, I should say. And I fucked up because you could tell the parts where I missed my back because there's like a random streak of sunburn like going down my back where I missed. And the best way to discover that is to take a hot shower, and then your like parts of your body are burning. And then my shins burned too because you don't think to reapply your shins.
No.
But my shins were sunburned, dude, and you don't realize how often like jeans rub against your shins until they're sunburned.
Like, if you forget to do it before you hit the beach, like, you're usually fucked. Like, when somebody says, you look like you're getting a little sun, you're already fucked.
Oh, I know.
You're fucked. You're crispy.
I did pretty good.
Guy.
I had to reapply. I made, like, a big sandcastle and shit,
I'm a ginger, so it hits me different.
Yeah, you can't go to the beach. But that was it. So
I need SPF ginger. That's the kind I need.
Dude, there is like SPF 100. Like, that's unheard of.
I go out there and I'd get bronze if I had SPF 100 on. I would. I swear to God, I'd turn tan as shit. I'd be like, damn, what do you got on?
So anyway, boys and girls, we are back here. I am sorry for the delay. I hope you missed me like I missed you.
Yep.
And we are back here, kicking it into high gear with the Sloppy Horror Podcast, and we are here to talk about another fantastic horror movie picked by the horror movie nerd himself, Christian Ramey. So, Christian Ramey, please lead us off here with what we are talking about today.
This is a great movie. Ernest Goes to Jail. All right, it's not Ernest Goes to Jail. Guys, we're talking about our first Hammer flick. We haven't talked about any Hammer movies thus far. I mean, we've discussed Hammer movies a lot, but we haven't picked one yet. And it's such an important part of horror. Today we're talking about The Curse of Frankenstein. And really quick, I mean, as I kind of was getting at in the intro, all things become watered down. I don't care if it's a musician. I don't care if it's Freddy is scarier in the first movies, and then by the end of the franchise, he's got a hotline. He's doing rap music videos. Frankenstein and Dracula, the first few movies, were very frightening, and then as they go on, the Universal pictures I'm referring to, and then as they go on, they meet Abbott and Costello, they kind of get funnier. It happens with all franchises. That's just the way it works, because people end up liking the bad guy or the monster. That's just the way people are, the anti-hero. So, when that happens, things aren't taken serious. So, after that happened, nobody really wanted to make horror movies anymore because Carl Laemmle Jr. was really who boosted it up for Universal. He says, no, we need horror movies. His dad's like, I don't fucking know. He's like, nah, we're doing them. And obviously, it paid off. They had all those successful pictures, The Invisible Man. But in the 40s, there was a lack. There's nothing really going on. And then there was some sci-fi pictures that happened in 50s. And sci-fi isn't horror. I mean, it definitely, that line broaches, it gets really close to each other, but sci-fi and horror are not the same thing. So, what Hammer, what they did eventually, they were first doing radio dramas. Like back in the day before TV, obviously, they would have everybody gather around a radio and listen to whatever, stories.
It was like the first podcast for you kids to put that in perspective.
Yes.
You had to go to the living room and listen to your podcast instead of in the car or at work.
The whole family. And it was like a TV show. You would hear like doors, like sound effects, like,
yeah.
Johnson, where were you last night at 3:30? Why are you asking all these questions? See? We're asking about Mary Helen. We want to know where our body is. You're like, it was like some real intense shit. It was really great voice actors, but that's what Hammer did. They operated on Brace Studios, and this is obviously over in the UK. And what these fellas did is they did the Quatermass Experiment, and that was a sci-fi movie, but it did really, really well, and it was kind of spooky. And they says, hey, we got to start fucking making some monster pictures. We want to do like a Frankenstein or a Dracula. That's got to be money. And they wanted to take it serious, and that's exactly what they did. So Peter Cushing, this is the first movie where he was the star in, like legendary Peter Cushing, fucking Star Wars all over. I mean, everyone recognizes this man's face, even if you don't know from what. He's just been in everything throughout time. And this was the first one where he was, the star. And what's crazy is it's a movie where he plays Dr. Victor Frankenstein, or Baron Victor Frankenstein, excuse me.
The Baron.
Exactly.
What a dope name.
I know, dude.
Referred to as the Baron.
Yes. Oh. And he's so polite in English. I mean, they all are.
Dude, you know what's fun? You know what's great about this?
What?
If you want to feel smarter, just watch this movie.
Oh, yes.
I'm telling you. Because you feel smarter after they talk the entire movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so sophisticated. It's like Shakespeare type shit. Dialogue.
So English, so proper, so awesome, such great etiquette, and that's really what we enjoy. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Don't get me wrong. Some cool CGI looks great, but there's something about like just some good acting on the TV. I don't care how old the movie is. If it's just some solid acting going on, like it'll always catch me. Even if it's not horror, you're like, what the hell is this? What are these guys talking about? I just get intrigued, like, when did this come out? So everyone, I'm not going to insult everybody's intelligence, not knowing the story of Frankenstein, but if you don't, I'll give you a little rundown here. Peter Cushing's character, he's Frankenstein, the doctor. Obviously, he starts to get some stuff together to make a body. He has another friend, Paul, who's his buddy, who's also a doctor, but Paul's pretty hesitant, He's, got more ambivalence towards it. He's like, I don't know if I want to, you can see the hesitation in him. And throughout the movie, he eventually turns his back on, Baron. He says, no more. I'm not fucking helping you. The monster, he makes the monster, and it's Christopher Lee who plays the Frankenstein creature. And that's what he's credited as, is the creature. And really quick, too, Universal was not very receptive. I'll say that right off the bat. They were not very receptive of Hammer making these movies. And they pretty much said, like, yo, look here, you little bitches. If you guys use anything from our movie, the way that the Frankenstein monster looked, like Jack Pierce designed him, any of his makeup, the flat head like his shit, we're going to sue you. If you take anything that was in our movie and not in the book, we're going to sue you. So, like, this is pretty incredible that they were able to play in that, field, and they still crushed it and killed it because, yes, the Frankenstein looks a lot different, but he looks sweet, man. This is Christopher Lee coming into himself. And you have to think about how incredible these actors are. Like Peter Cushing, not only did he play Dr. Frankenstein, he played fucking Sherlock Holmes. He played Van Helsing. He played all these just different characters that would chase after Christopher Lee or vice versa. And those two together, dog, I've said it before. They're the best duo in horror history, man. They are like, Batman and Robin. Not even that. They're like two equals, bro. And they'll like let the other one shine. And what's really cool is them and Vincent Price, they all had like 3 great friendship. But Anyways, about the movie Curse of Frankenstein, they make this monster. Obviously, he's a little bit violent. He kills some people. He gets out. Frankenstein gets him back. Paul thinks he kills him because he shoots him. And then, he just finds out that Victor took him back to the laboratory and rebuilt him. And then, obviously, everyone turns on Dr. Frankenstein and throws his ass in jail. It's just the way it works. And then to the guillotine. So he's actually in jail at the start of this movie, and a priest comes in and he kind of tells him the whole story of why he's in there.
Yeah.
But his friend Paul sold him out at the end. He was like, "Nope, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude."
Yeah.
Made it seem like he was crazy. But there's all kinds of great things in this movie, and Hammer films are sometimes like, and they eventually got tongue-in-cheek as well. They eventually got watered down as well. But these initial films were very serious, and they treated the subject matter serious. So, like, even though they're creating a monster from dead bodies, and it's not actuality, very much fiction. But Peter hit it with such a seriousness and such like a gentleman and Englishman kind of like way, where you're like, damn, this is serious. Like, this dude's actually, like, you very much believe him. And I don't know, there's just something to be said about it. And also, I mean, this is the first British horror movie with color. So the colors are vibrant, they're great, they're incredible, love it. If you're going to go down the list of like, hey, which Hammer picture should I watch? Because there's dozens. Most people put this at the top of the list, because it's really the one that kicked off the whole thing, to be honest with you. The Quatermass experiment it helped Hammer out. It was very successful. But this movie right here, I mean, this earned back like 70 times its production. Like, I mean, cost. I mean, it 70 times.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's taking on one of the greatest stories ever told. The Frankenstein story.
Mary Shelley.
The Frankenstein monster story has been around since, what, 1900s, 1800s? 1800s. This story has been around since... Yeah. And it's so interesting because it plays on the most fascinating thing there ever was. It's bringing something back to life, beating death. You know what I mean? So that's always going to be interesting. And like you said before, like Universal is like, yeah, if you use anything from our typical Frankenstein movie, the things that you are used to seeing is flathead, bolts in the mirror, lightning strikes, all that stuff. I like this one a lot because
it's off by a fucking year. I'm sorry. I said 1819. It was 1818.
Whatever. Same thing.
Fucking stupid.
Thank you for interrupting me.
Sorry.
Yeah, but the thing about, I liked what they did with this movie because they went around it so well. Yeah. Like instead of for instance, instead of on a table, you need electricity to bring them to life. You got them in some kind of boiling tub.
Yep.
He doesn't have a little side. He doesn't have a little creepy side. Yes, master.
Igor.
He doesn't have an Igor. He's got like another sophisticated thing. Like it's more sophisticated story and somewhat like believable. It's like makes you think like, oh, like this could actually fucking happen. The way they did it. Now, obviously, it's almost damn near impossible.
Exactly.
But it gave, this movie has a more realistic feel to it because they're not doing anything crazy. Like
it's convincing.
It is very convincing. So,
and at 1957, Mark, I mean, obviously, this is not a movie. If I'm like, hey man, like this isn't Saving Private Ryan. It's not something that's gonna keep you even though it's like a long movie, it's gonna keep you up. This movie's short, and honestly, it's very thick with plot. So like the first 30 minutes, you're gonna be like, all right, okay, this is good. It's told me, but it's like, all right, when's it gonna happen? But once shit starts going down, dude, you're like, okay, all right. And I'll tell you another thing. With Hammer movies, we've talked about movies before that you need like a sound bar or they're just impossible or you're going to sit there with your remote like up and down because of the fucking score. Hammer is that way. Like the symphony in it is just... It is the classic. I think that's where most horror flicks get a lot of it. That like... Dun, dun, like over the top.
That stuff? Yeah,
yes.
It's full of that.
Oh my God.
But it has to be. It's 1957. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, all you have is characters on a screen. You don't have any really crazy effects that make stuff scary. You got to build that suspense. You got to build that fear with eerie music. loud music, make you uncomfortable, and then they'll make you feel more uncomfortable when something uncomfortable on the screen is happening.
I think their first movie was 1947. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
They weren't in the same scene. They didn't know each other, but in the same movie. These motherfuckers have been acting together since the 40s.
They did it well. What a performance by both of them in this movie. Mm-hmm. They're very, very good acting. It held me. It's like, this is a movie from 1957.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a story I already know. I already know what's going to happen. He's going to build a monster, and it's going to fuck up, and something's going to happen. But it was done very well. It held my attention because it's such an, like you said, you've seen this story 100 times. It's always interesting to watch. It's always a great story. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most fascinating stories there are.
I love how kind people are. Like, you could tell, like, when snooty situations happen, because, like, nobody argues. Like, there's no, like, hey, fuck you, get out of here. Like, it's not that. It says, well, that's fine. If you've made your peace, here's the door. You know, like,
dude, that's what I'm saying. Like,
just,
they're so sophisticated and stuff.
You can see your way out. I bet you would do.
I bet you would do.
Hey, how psyched was he when Paul came back and knocked on his door? Yeah, like, cause
Paul.
Oh, Paul. I got so excited.
Or when Paul comes back, oh, he has something to show me. You should go surprise him, Paul. I think I might just do that. Yes.
Yes. And what's horrible is too, like, the girls, they make them so dumb back then. Like, I mean, all the girl characters are like, oh, like they just have no, well, he doesn't show me his work in his laboratory. It's like, look, if you don't go up there and check out what's going on, because the story's supposed to be like middle of the 1800s, and it's like, I don't give a fuck, dude. If somebody said, like, yeah, I think your fiance is like building dead bodies up there, you're like, huh? Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Different time for that, man.
He was banging his maid. This dude was swerving all his girls for his passion and his work.
I mean, he's banging his maid. He's marrying his cousin. I mean, he's doing it right.
Yeah, and he like didn't give a fuck about either of them. Like, it wasn't like he's like, oh man, because at first they sold it like, oh, he's in love with the maid. He's like, no, I don't care about you. I don't care about you or her. I care about making monsters. What you mean? Like, this is my work.
He wasn't no simp.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not simping around, lady.
I'm not simping around.
Yeah. Daddy's home. I'm here to bang you out, and then we're leaving. You're going to clean my house. This is what this is. I pay you for all of these, services. And then she got snooty. He was like, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
You know what's always cool about these Frankenstein movies?
What?
What a cool job would be is to create the set of the laboratory. Imagine going into that. Like, obviously, like, there's nothing really. All you have to do is make it look scientific. You're making a bunch of glass shit around here. You're making stuff bubble and stuff. Like, putting that together, that'd be fun.
Do me a favor, Mark.
What's that?
This book right here, it's called Grease, Paint, and Gore. It's the Hammer Monsters of Roy Aston. This is the makeup guy, okay, that made all of this stuff. Would you do me a favor? Take this right here.
Okay. What do you want me to do with this?
Look at page 110.
Cool.
110.
Let me look at something visually on an audio thing.
Well, no, I'm saying what you're looking at is this is a really cool book for some of you guys out there if you're looking for something. So he's the guy who did the makeup on all of these, and I think it's 110 is the page where he has his Frankenstein sketches and he lays down everything that he's making, and because obviously, like we said, he couldn't use Karloff's thing, so he was really. He said he went through dozens and dozens of sketches and went through a bunch of different stuff.
Well, yeah.
And, it's just kind of cool. It gives a bunch of different stuff on how he made his monsters. So kind of neat to think that you had to work within the restraints. It wasn't like, hey, man, you're making a Jason movie. And you're like, ooh, I can put the mask on him. You're like, nope. Can't do none of that shit, actually. You can only use the sackhead Jason. Like, and you can't call him Jason. You're like, what?
Yeah,
like it would be very crazy.
They did a great job of making this version of the monster, like, for what it was. Like, you put together you got dead bodies, cut off. It looked like you made this out of corpses.
And you know who was a young man that watched this movie and felt like loved horror movies?
I don't know. Who?
John Carpenter. A lot of these films, like I said, because we had a gap in horror movies, so these started, Hammer over at Bray Studios just started fucking cranking them out, giving people a bunch of different horror flicks, and it took them serious. And the cool part and the shitty part is things weren't released like, oh, cool, now it's up on YouTube, you guys can all watch it tomorrow. Like, these things took decades to get to different countries, for people to watch all of them, and then you had a lot of those, like, join me for the double creature feature tonight, Curse of Frankenstein. And, like, you'd see some stuff like that, the late night TV in the, the 60s and the 70s. And even into the 80s, we got, like, Joe Bob into the 90s. Like, there's always been a guy that's been like that. That being said, these were always at the helm of that. These were really what shaped a lot of people's, foundation for what a scary movie is in their youth. When I love Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and he is the first. I'm not like saying he's not the best, but when I think of Dracula immediately, I think of Christopher Lee and the hammer with the fangs and the really fake red blood and the paint. Like, I just picture that face right away, and that's who's Dracula to me. And I mean, they're all great. Gary Oldman's fucking great. I mean, excuse the profanity. I apologize, guys. But what I'm stating is, the Hammer films live in my heart, and I definitely could get caught up in all these movies. And honestly, any picture with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, I can watch them two together anytime. There's like Horror Express. That's one they did later on, where they're on a train. Oh, there's so many good ones they've done. They were in Star Wars franchise.
Wow. That's fascinating.
It is. It is.
Do you think back in the 1800s you could marry your cousin?
Oh, I'm sure you could do whatever the fuck you want.
No, I ask you, could you? Could you?
Oh.
Yeah.
How hot is she? And is it first or third?
I don't know. Which one is it in the movie?
I don't know.
I think it's first, right?
Ooh. That's a tough look. Mary?
Yeah.
Not like smash?
I don't know. I mean, you could do this. It's 1800s. You can do what you want, but super fucking
my
weird,
beautiful
man.
sister.
Well, to be wedded in the first months of the year. Yes.
What are you doing, step cousin?
Oh man, very sophisticated stuff here. Very sophisticated stuff here.
It's fancy.
Yeah, it's great.
It's very posh.
Did you get my letter? Oh, you didn't.
You need like one J-Rock character up in there, like, hey, what's going on? Know what I'm saying? No, I do not know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got your letter, you know what I'm saying? So we up here, rock pile up in this ma.
Did you say you have a pile of rocks? That would be a lot of fun, man. I don't know, man. There's just sometimes...
I'm delighted.
I just like to kick off, to be such a kickoff for, hey, this is, I mean, I'm an American and I love British horror. I love Italian horror. I love British horror.
Yeah.
But especially this top of the map. I'm not going to say which is my favorite because it's hard for me to do that. But if I had like a British horror marathon, this would be on the list.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. This is great, man. This is great.
I mean, obviously, Young Frankenstein covered this, but like, you know, if you're making a monster, you give him like like 8 inches for sure, man. You're not gonna like give him a little wiener.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna give him like a horse dick.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's science. It's your creature, dude. It's like a 2K character you're making or a wrestler. You're gonna max out his stats.
I would put a clown horn up his ass so every time he farts, it would go, ha 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 ha.
See, now we're getting fun with it. Why not give him Cyclops eyes? Did you have a favorite X-Men?
Favorite X-Men? Probably the dude who teleports. What is that, Nightcrawler?
Oh, Nightcrawler. He's fucking sick.
Just because I've always wanted to teleport, dude. Like, I've always wanted to do that.
I always
You know
like,
what I mean?
I like
I've always-
Cable a lot. I like Bishop. But Cyclops was always pretty sweet to me too. Got laser eyes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's some stuff. I mean, that might be convenient sometimes in life.
You think you could build a creature out of dead body parts?
With yeah. No, I know you could. I mean, with stem cells. And
No, I mean, I'm saying, could you? Like, could you physically go dig up a dead body, cut off parts of it?
Scientifically, absolutely not. But what's the reward on this? It's it's kind of like the Pet Cemetery thing,
I don't know. I mean,
why am I doing? Am I getting paid for it? Because if it was just, I don't know if
well, sure. All right, let's say you get paid for it.
Okay, $1 million.
Sure.
Can I pick bad people?
You can pick anybody you want.
Oh, okay, yeah, bet.
You know what I always thought of is Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I love that.
So Charlie's uncle, the lawyer.
Yeah, look at his hands. Yeah. Look at his hands. Put your hands on mine.
When I see the monster in this movie, his hands are hanging down, I feel like it's just him. Those are a nice set of hands. Because he's he has the most perfect hands I've ever seen. They're just hanging down extra long too.
Christopher Lee has such a gait in this movie. The way he moves and walks, it's such a stance. It's very incredible. Such method acting, man. He's got a really weird and interesting monster walk and stance that really isn't particular to any other movie. His hands are kind of just hanging out there. He's almost like the Slender Man, almost with big long fingers.
Yeah.
Big fucking ringmaster out there. Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
Yeah, the makeup on his face was good as well. It was very different. This movie gave the Frankenstein monster a new look that you've never seen before, that you're not used to. Well, mainly because they had to. Mm-hmm. But it's good.
And that's hard, good. Bro. You change up Freddy Krueger's look, we're all pissed off. We don't like that. So to be able to change, because...
Yeah, be able to, for you to, like you said, be able to go in there and change something that's so iconic looking that people are fucking used to, and it works. It's one of the best Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, it's Jack Pierce, man. And Jack Pierce, Boris Karloff, and you beat that? Not beat it, but you at least were, able to...
Nobody said anything I didn't like the monster. I don't think people said that.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't think people said that.
And people, think about this, Ozark, Mark. So, you don't have any horror movies in color at that point in Britain. This comes out, super fucking vibrant. Shoot dude in the head, blood's pouring out. This was super gory for that time frame. People were not used to this kind of stuff. And all Frankenstein's kind of pushed those boundaries. The original, obviously, throwing little Maria into the water and killing her. That wasn't, normal for movies.
And they did a good thing, too, is they stuck to the original things that happen, of course, in every Frankenstein monster movie, almost. Mm-hmm. He gets out, finds there's a blind person.
Hey, when he was on the roof, you remember that?
Yeah, there's a blind person, and then there is a child. Now, it's instead of a little girl, it's a little boy. Instead of a blind guy in a house, it's a blind guy in the woods. They just put them together, but he's by a lake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, monster's going to come up on this little kid on the lake. Nah, they switched it around. Shit, you know what I mean? So they did what you're used to. They did it. They did that good.
Yeah, I'm surprised you knew all that about Bride of Frankenstein. That's awesome, Mark.
I know some shit, man.
This motherfucker, dude, he doesn't know horror movies or anything.
No,
that's Bride of Frankenstein, bro. That's the sequel, where he meets the blind man. That isn't even the first.
I would love to tell you more things about this movie that I may or may not know, though.
Well, let's get into it.
Boom, boom, megadon, boom. Welcome to the What Do You Know Here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know. No, but I've been away for 2 weeks. It's been rusty. But you know what I'm saying? We're back
rusty.
Here. I'm a little rusty here around the edges, but this is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie here. I'm going to get through it. So if you know what we know, you're going to know what we know, and you're going to know together. But if you don't know what you know, you're about to find out what we know, and then you're going to have a we know-gasm. What is that? It's like figuring out masturbation for the first time, but in your noggin. Okay? That's going to do it, and you're going to be addicted to it. Yeah. So I'm gonna start off here and tell you something that I may or may not know about this movie. Okay, check this out.
Please go on.
I will tell you. Okay, so we're talking about the scene where the monster escapes, and Paul.
Yeah, Paul, the other
They're in
doctor.
the woods. The other doctor. Yeah, he's in
the
there.
other doctor.
And they shoot him. They shoot this monster. Okay, in the face.
Right in his stupid
And they
ass
got.
face.
And they got it. Now, everything in that scene, the leaves, the trees, the berries, the glass, they painted everything. Very vibrant colors. Why did they do that? Because this is the first British movie to come out in color, so they wanted to make it vibrant as shit. No woods are that very colorful.
No, you
they
got
are
a
in
point
this.
though. They're beautiful in there.
They are beautiful in this movie here.
They
So
look.
they painted
It's a lot of colors.
It's a lot of colors, and they painted it. So boom, what do you know here?
Look here. So, as we have just heard, this movie, they wasn't allowed to use nothing from Universal, so everything was sold top secret. They had like more security guards on set. They didn't let anybody into the studio. It was like some Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Nobody gets in, nobody comes out. Yeah, they were super crazy about it because they were afraid people were gonna get in there and they was gonna leak out their information, and everybody, fucking rats everywhere, telling all over and they tell their secrets. So they had like crazy lockdown fucking security for months until Roy Aston and the guys, got something together they thought was solid.
They thought was salad.
Yeah, like the monster they liked. They like why he was drawing up all these sketches, why they were trying to find a way to make a new monster. They weren't letting nobody new on set. It was only like the people that were allowed on set, so nobody was getting the info and leaking it out to the Universal people.
That's great, but what does that have to do with salad?
Oh, there's not, I don't know, salads.
You just said salad. You said it was salad.
Solid,
Oh, okay.
not salad.
Thought you were going a little Caesar. Salad.
Salad, baby, salad.
Wow, that's a great fact. I got another one here. Check this out, right?
Okay.
So there's a part in the movie where the professor's over there and he's gonna try and kill him, right, for his brain.
Yeah.
So he takes him up to the columns. He's like, "Hey, look at this painting real quick."
Yeah.
And then he pushes him off through the railing to the thing. Now, here's a little fucking cool, interesting fact for your eyes next time you're there. Look at the railing. You could already see the breaks in the railing before he goes through.
That's a fun little
That's
fact.
a little hiccup there. So next time you're there with your broad or your guy, you could be like, "Hey, look at that railing. It's broken already." And then you're smarter for it. Look at
Look
you.
here.
Look at you.
Now,
Look at you.
I've got a rebuttal fact to that fact.
Okay?
So what's really funny about that shit, because I laugh about that every time I see that part. It's hands down the funniest part in the movie to me. But what happens is, this dude's like a professor, and he's talking to Frankenstein, and like you can kind of tell, like he's kind of keen to Frankenstein shit, but he's really smart, and Frankenstein wants his brain for his monster.
Sure.
So he takes him upstairs to the
Upstairs.
top of the stairs to look at his picture.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Yes, if you just step back, you're able to see it." And he says, "Professor, look out!" And he just pushes him right over.
Yeah.
So what's funny about this shit is there was a stunt double, because this guy's fucking old. Well,
Right.
this dude really got hurt because he missed the padding. His whole body hit the padding, but his head it didn't. And like if you watch it, you could tell that they kept that shot, bro. It looks like a wrestling botch. Like when they mess it up. That's what makes this shit so funny, bro. He catches this fall with his fucking face. Big time. Like, it's bad. Like, he wipes out so bad. But that guy really got hurt in that part. And back then, movie directors, they're relentless. What looks best? Like, you're going over your dailies, and you're like, here's the one where he actually got hurt. And you're like, well, let's see what that one looks like. You're like, yeah, I think that looks
Yeah, I
best.
think that was the best one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's the one we'll go with.
Wow. What
So,
a fact.
yeah, that's
so
some stuff I
interesting.
know there.
Wow.
That's some stuff I know.
That's so great. What a great load of facts here for your ass. That's great.
Stick them in your ass.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all you know here?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
I don't know how to leave.
Until the next time, folks, we're not good with goodbyes, but
No.
you know, until the next time, you guys take care. Hey, yo, Zoc Mock.
Yeah.
You know who's trying to bing bong save your life?
No.
Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior.
That's fantastic. So, dude, how have we not talked about the greatest character in this movie?
Give it to me.
Professor Bernstein.
Oh, I love this guy. Hello. His voice.
Hello, dear best. This is great. I can't even do his voice. He reminds me of like Igor a little bit. So that's what they played on it. But man, the way he talks is fun. I wish that guy was like my doctor.
Seems as if you're getting stronger.
Oh, hello. Now, hold on. I can't even do it. You gotta talk with like your nose. Like, hello, Christian.
You appear to be stronger.
Yeah. Oh, you should really quit smoking. It's not good for the lungs, but your cholesterol is good. Just make sure you drink more water, okay?
He almost
Alright,
kind of
I've
has
seen
the
that.
same like tone as the German neighbor from Monster Squad.
Yeah. He's very German. Nice. It's such a lovely house and lovely company.
I like it here.
But anyway,
yeah, I love that guy. And seriously, he really does. He eats that fall with his face so
dude,
hard.
you know what's funny about that is I don't know many people will get this, but I know you will. I think Violet J took inspiration from this scene into when he did the song Mad Professor.
Oh, dude, for sure.
Oh, we gotta take a look at that upholstery right there. So, woo, real upholstery. So he comes up like
You okay there?
He comes in like, yes, look at this painting. Look at that right there. You know, if you back up a little bit, you'll see it better.
Yeah,
And
man.
then he just straight pushes this dude off the railing, through the railing, and straight headbutts to the floor, dude. And you know what always questioned me about this?
What?
What I thought about? So, he is killing this man for his brain. So you choose to push him off of a balcony
Face first.
and make him land on his head, which will cause damage to the brain. Why would you do that?
Dummy.
I think I would think of a better way to kill a man if I was going to kill somebody to harvest their brain.
It's so abrupt. Like, if it's your first time watching it, I mean, you might be expecting it now that we've mentioned it if you haven't watched the movie, but, like, for real, if you're just watching it, like, it's not at the pace of the movie.
No.
Like, because you think he's inspired by him. You're like, oh, and he is, and he likes his brain. But, like, you just did not expect that at all.
Well, I don't expect him pushing him off of the balcony.
Professor, look out!
I thought like he would like suffocate him or fucking just, I don't know.
I like how he did his maid. She was talking that shit. She's like, I'm going to call the police. And he just locked her in there with the monster.
He's like, what are you going to tell them? Proof. It's like back in Training Day. It's not what you know, Jake. It's what you can prove.
Denzel was channeling his Curse of Frankenstein.
It's what he says, though. It's like, what do they want? Proof. Not what you know, it's what you can prove.
You're going to use...
Well, I'll get the proof.
What, are you
I'm
going to
sure
use
you will.
Smiley and my boys? You think my gang will give you up? Yeah, that's good, man. That's good shit. What a great concept, man. I don't know who... I'm sure there's going to be people who are like, hey, man, I think this movie's boring. It's not for me. And I totally get that. So I don't know what kind of wheelhouse of a movie fan you are, what you're really into. But if you enjoy old films and you've never really, say, ventured into the Hammer waters and you're like, oh, I'm familiar with that, start with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Well, I think the ideal way to watch this movie for the first time is you have to be in the right setting. This is a great winter, inside, cozy movie. Like, this is a cozy, like, you're all fucking warm and, you know, cuddled up and you got your snack there and all that. But it's like a very sophisticated film. It's kind of like, you know, it's a rich story, but that's it. So you got to be in the mood for a rich story with, you know, like that. And I think it'll work if you're right, if they're in the right condition to watch it. Like, if you're in the mood for some fucking action and blow explosions and murder,
Yeah, no,
blood,
this is
it's not gonna
acting.
be it.
This is acting.
This is straight. It's like a play.
And a
on
lot
screen.
of these people came from theater. You're correct,
It's
Mark.
basically theater on a screen is what it is, okay? So you have to be in the mood for a theater type of feel to really enjoy it. But if you're in that mood and you're in that setting, you understand what it's going to be, you're ready to watch it, boom, this is going to be right in your fucking wheelhouse, dog.
I think, like, they have, like, a cool little, like, where Peter Cushing's from, they got, like, a little museum and shit, like, the part of the world where he lived in over in London, or not London, and, like, Britain. I don't know where the fuck it's at over there. I don't know their cities, really. I know their cities, but I don't know the locations of, like, so excuse my ignorance to all my UK listeners out there, but wherever the hell he was from, it just looked gorgeous. It looked so peaceful. It looked so cool. There's a really cool documentary out there called History of Horror with Mark. Fuck, I don't know. I forget his last name, but he's a British dude. And his love for Hammer. I don't know. It was a lot of fun to watch. And I rewatched it before we did this episode, too, just because he gives great reference points. But they were showing where Peter Cushing was from. And they were asking Peter in an interview. They were saying, hey, Peter, a lot of people get upset because they get typecast in these kind of movies. Are you upset about that? And it was like the coolest interview ever. You guys should look it up. But he said, like, no, yes, I understand people can be typecast in things, but I think as actors, we just enjoy to get movies. And he says, I know people get great enjoyment from these movies, and I just love to make them for people. And he's got like this dime piece next to him, like just fucking.
Of course he does, because he talks like that.
And let's not like leave out his facial hair. My guy's got the craziest fucking like sideburns. They're like just triangles on his face, just hair triangles.
They're
on
like
his
Wolverine.
Face. It's like a protractor sized on his face.
Right.
And you're like, bro, like what's happening?
Because they talk like that. Like, okay, let's put our voice versus his voice to a female at a bar or some kind of party. If I go up, hey, how's it going? How you doing?
Like,
Hey, how you doing? Can I buy you a drink? And if he goes, hello, my dear. It's a lovely night, isn't it? What are you drinking over there? Ah, yes, I remember back when I had my first vodka tonic. It was back in '87 with my Uncle Roy. He took me to a bar for the first time. That's fantastic. Well, I'd love to get to know you more. How about I buy you another one and we'll talk about this?
I'm assuming that's your boys over there on the pool table. You're just
Her panties are disintegrating from the amount of moisture fabricating from those curtains.
They're not even there
You
anymore.
understand me? No, they're gone.
It gets so wet it catches on fire.
That's not possible, but I can imagine how it would be.
Lightning out of her vagina because he just comes in proper.
Like, what?
Hello. Like, so that fucking is so cool.
I
I have big respect. My accent, my love for their
Hold on.
my British horror is better than my accent.
Hold on a second. Do you think women from Great Britain and like the English women like think American accents
They
are
do.
like hot?
I find out every day on TikTok they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't know if it was reversed. Because like American women like love like the proper British fucking voices for
you
some
know
reason.
where our avenue is?
What?
If you want the best.
What's that?
Sloppy Horror is going to go to Japan next year, and we'll be all right out there. All right, we're pretty tall. Okay, we're business oriented.
Sure.
We're just going to go out there. We're going to clean house. Our ladies are just going to have to understand.
I guess so.
They're just going to have to come with us. They're just going to have to see.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But I know what we have to do right now. We have
Eating
to
octopuses.
we have to rate this bitch.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Yeah. It's the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Welcome to it. If this is your first time here, hello.
You know that's my favorite thing you've ever done?
What's that?
That intro for that rating. That song there.
It's a great song.
I have such like a love for like Johnny Carson and the old school talk shows, and like that really reminds me of that. And it's like just it's incredible.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you. Anyways, so this is Sloppy Horror Rating. This is the segment where Christian Ramey, the horror nerd, your host and your scary movie companion, is going to rate the horror movie on a series of 3 categories. Actually, 4 categories. I'm sorry. Let's try this again, because I am rusty.
It reminds me of Weekend at Bernie's, where he was like, I haven't done it in a while. I'm rusty. I'll work it off.
Because I don't practice at all. We just come in here and do this shit. So, this is going to be a rating here based on 4 categories. 3 categories worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point. Half a point each from each of us for a total of
10 points altogether.
Yes, and a little disclaimer here. This is a horror movie rating, not a movie in general. So please keep that in mind. If this is your favorite movie of all time and we give it a low rating, it's not because it's a bad movie, but this is how it ranks on the horror scale. It is a horror scale, not a movie scale.
You freaking frickers.
You friendly, lovely people that I love so much and want to finger bang you.
You fools.
I want to watch y'all when y'all go to the bathroom.
I do. I'm there. Actually, I've cut holes in every bathroom that you've ever been in.
Yes. It always goes a little bit to the left.
It does.
So, let's go on to the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
There's not a doubt in my mind. This is a 3. They just don't make movies like this. They don't really pick acting like this. And when you don't have, like, obviously there's great makeup for its time, but, like, you know, you compare it to It that came out a couple years ago. There's just so many limitations that just they did not have. And casting is where they made up for that. So Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee could be a 3 alone, but, like, everyone else crushed it. Everyone else did a great job as well. All these people were rich actors. I definitely, there's great character arcs for all of them. And like you said, it's like kind of got like a play aspect to it. And there's cool bromance between Victor and like his dude Paul, because Paul's like his only friend of reason, because these girls are like in love with him and they don't really care until they just get avoided. And then like kind of all of them, and they get mad and they yell. And that's what they did to him. And they were really, I mean, if he didn't have girls, he would have been able to keep going. I think he could have convinced Paul, but they all did a good job. They all did a good job.
Yeah, I think this movie is solely relying on its casting to make it for how successful it was, for sure. Because, I mean, all it is acting.
Strong 3.
The entire movie is all acting. So that is 3 out of 10 so far after the first category. Let's go on to the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills.
So we have some.
Just a few.
But it's nothing to write home about. Now, for the time, these things were very, very gory. But, we've had a large catalog of horror since then, and we can't exclude that, like what our eyes are used to. So the kills, I'm going to give this a 1. I'm going to give it a 1 because there's not a whole lot, but it's not a half a point because the 1 is solid. They did a very good job, like I said, Roy Aston with his makeup and how they executed it and how they had the balls to be like, yeah, we're not pussyfooting around and we're going to shoot this dude in the face and it's just blood's going to rush out. We're going to choke out Dr. Frankenstein. Like, there's going to be some crazy stuff. We're going to have him shoot Elizabeth, there's all kinds of stuff that we're going to do in this. And that's probably pretty groundbreaking for 57.
Sure. I agree with that. So that's 1 point. 4 points out of 10 so far to 2 categories. Go on to the third, final 3-point category here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
So we got fear going on.
Fear.
And let's be honest, folks. I don't think you're going to be too afraid of the movie nowadays. Now, back in the day, this was probably a 2.5. I mean, this fucked people up. People couldn't handle this. They were staying up late watching this on TV when they weren't supposed to. And, the music, the imagery, that shit would sit with you for a long time. But this is going to be another 1 for me. It's enough. It generated enough fear in its lifetime that I can't undermine that. And it does. There's great suspense. It has all the great elements of it. I mean, it has the music builds up. There's some great, you're right there with it. You know what's going on. So you're like, okay, how the hell is this thing going to end? It's like one of those things where if someone tried to get you when there's 30 minutes left in the movie and you're like, hold on, I gotta see how this shit plays out. I know, like you said, I know how it's gonna go, but I just want to see how they do it.
Yeah.
And it definitely has that quality to it. But I'm gonna go with another 1 for the kills and the fear.
Okay. Very good. 5 out of 10. After 3 categories, we're going on to the final 1 point category, which is half a point from each of us each, and we are asking each other if we fucks with this movie. So, Christian Ramey, I'm going to ask you, do you fucks with The Curse of Frankenstein, 1957?
I do, big dog. I do, Terrence Fisher, dog. This is a great movie. Hammer, that's what kicked it off. I have great love for this, so it definitely gets a strong half a point from me. So now I have to, table tennis that ball back to you and ask you, Ozark Mark, what do you think of Curse of Frankenstein? Do you fuck with this movie? Does it have any rewatchability for you?
I fucks with The Curse of Frankenstein. This definitely has some rewatchability to me.
That makes me happy, man.
It's a Frankenstein movie, man. All the Frankenstein movies practically have some sort of rewatchability to them because, again, it's such a rich story. And it's such a legendary story, and there's a reason why it's a legendary story because it's always so fucking interesting. And
he's a cool monster. You don't know if you could tell like he's trying to like decipher shit in his head, and like he wants to be good. He didn't want to be born, but like he just doesn't know his own strength and ends up like.
Yeah, it never gets old. You always, it's so interesting. But yeah, I fucks with it. So that is 6 out of 10 total for The Curse of Frankenstein, 1957.
Boom.
That's a pretty good score for a movie from 1957. This movie is over, 60 years old now?
Yeah, dude.
It's almost 70, actually.
How old are your parents, bros? Were they born after this movie?
I don't know. But that's pretty amazing.
So that's what's pretty sick, too. Now, before we get into the fun rating, not rating, but Ozark gives, the parental guide. Before we do that, I do want to ask you, Ozark Mark, you got a favorite part of this movie?
Yeah, it's the Professor death scene.
Okay, that's probably one of the funniest.
Yeah, I'm not going to go over it again because we already talked about it, but, that part is always fucking just funny, man. I'm sorry. The character, the professor himself is hilarious, and the death is hilarious, and him just hitting his head just is so comical.
You know what I found funny too?
What?
So like Justine is made.
Yeah.
He kills her, right? And it's super intense. She gets locked in this cell with Frankenstein, and she turns a corner and she finds him, and it's all intense, and she's like, ah! And then it just cuts to a peaceful breakfast with Peter Cushing with his wife-to-be, Elizabeth. And he says, will you pass the marmalade? like it's just, you're like, yes. Like, he doesn't care at all. No. Like, I just murdered this lady. Now I'm just going to have some marmalade on my toast. like, I don't care. Like, it's such a suspense killer. You're like, oh. So,
how are the wedding invitations coming? Tell me that guy practicing his speech at the rehearsal isn't cracking you up. He just keeps,
when he's taking the drinks to the bride and groom.
Yeah, to the bride and groom. To the lovely couple. He just keeps drinking.
These things take time, my dear. You must practice. If I had a guy like that at all in my life, I would lose my shit.
Oh, no.
All the time. And that's what people don't, you miss out on too. You just find things that aren't intended to be funny. And in 1957, like, that was probably an obscure type of guy that was out there. So he represented something. But now you don't find that guy ever. So, like, when you see these weird characters, you're like,
it was such
what
a
in the
random
hell?
part. It didn't have any significance. It was just, why? I don't know why that guy was there. He had no, that was it. That's all he did.
He kind of reminded me in the voice. You ever seen that dude on a TikTok and all over, that weird old dude that eats the hot chili peppers, and he's like, one hot ghost pepper?
I think so.
Dude, this dude is like, you're gonna find him now because the phone's gonna talk. It's gonna find you, and you're gonna.
I bet you it will.
That's
I bet
how
you
it
it will.
This
dude.
guy, oh my god, he's really funny though. But like, I don't know what his butthole's like because this guy's eating like peppers with like crazy ass hot sauce and dipping it in shit. I've seen a lot of people doing it, but this guy's the funniest. But one guy in Mexican pepper. He has like that weird nasally high-pitched voice, and it's just like, why can't we have people like this in our life? I hope as we get older there's people in our life that are funny like that because we can laugh all the time.
No, I hope so, man. I hope so.
So now that we got our favorite parts out of the way, now that we got those out. Ozark Mark, if you got kids, let's get into it.
Hit it, baby. I missed you, mister.
Mr. Ozark.
Tell them if they're old enough to watch that scary stuff. It's for the parents who give a
Parents who give a fuck.
Yeah, parents.
What a jam that is.
For all you parents, your children's,
Your children's.
little babies.
Yeah. So what is this segment, Christian Ramey? You gotta give a nice intro. It's only
So,
proper.
for you boys and girls out there, when we're dealing with horror movies, sometimes these movies can be scary, and we often get the questions like, hey, I got kids, how old are we? What movies are good for this age group? So every movie we talk about, we at least like to give you somewhat of a parental view. Now, I am a parent of 3, but my kids I got a teenager, an 11-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I'm all branched out, but I'm also a horror movie nerd, so I'm probably not the best dad to ask. Ozark doesn't have kids, so he has that fear if he's got somebody else's kid under his possession, he's not going to let him watch something crazy like, hey, I let your 8-year-old watch The Exorcist, we had a great night. All right, see you later. You would never, so there's a level of pressure there. So I think your answer is very true and fair, and I like this because we would do this before it was really even a segment, so we had to give it a little song and a title.
Sure. Of course. So, okay.
Let's take us away.
All right. So, if you look at this, there's no real intense gore. There's no sex, no nudity.
Very polite talk.
The most polite talk I think I've ever heard. This might actually educate your child if you if they showed them, you know what I mean? Because I said, you watch this movie, you feel smarter just by them talking.
There's not one sheesh. There's not one of those in this.
No drugs, no nothing. So honestly, this is an E for everyone movie. Anybody can watch this movie. I feel comfortable showing this movie to anybody.
That's fair.
It's a great if they can handle how old it is and it keeps their attention, I think they will thoroughly enjoy this movie just as a casual watch. So yeah, E for everyone for that one.
And this is
for everyone, dog.
Especially for those of you folks out there who've got those teenagers who maybe are into horror just like yourself and you're trying to educate them, get them into the genre. Definitely try to get their feet wet in this and see if they're into that kind of...
Just also explain to them, get them more interested in the movie than just the movie itself, And if it's anything you learned on this podcast today, tell them, hey, this is the first movie that was in color. They couldn't, this is, tell them some of the facts that we told you and might make them more interested and make them look out for that. They might enjoy it a little bit more if you got a little curious over there.
Yeah, if somebody was online scrolling through movie titles and they were to see this and, you're under the age of 40 and you're not hip to horror movies, you could be like, I don't know what the hell this, okay, Frankenstein, what's this, like a Frankenstein? They don't realize the impact that it had.
No.
And I think that's really what my main goal, is that you take these movies that don't really... Like Jaws. Okay, Jaws came out and then sharks were overhunted by the masses. That was a direct result of that movie. Sometimes things like that happen, but you're not really thinking about that on the daily. So it's neat to shine a light on some of these weird impacts these movies have. We always say Final Destination. You pull behind a log truck. Yeah,
dude,
initially
every time we got behind a log truck on the way down to Florida, dude.
Yep, your brain just immediately thinks of that movie, and that movie isn't some Lord of the Rings level tier movie. No, it's just a normal ass movie, but it's something that fucking sits with you, man, and it changes your thought process. And I think horror movies are cool like that, and they have an impact that should be discussed. Because even Scream with Caller ID, it isn't the sole purpose for Caller ID, but I'll be damned if everybody didn't have it by the year 2000. After you start making horror movies where people are cloning phones and you can't tell who's calling. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's yep, we got caller ID now. That's a pretty direct result, and they got bigger reaches than people think. So that's what I like to do. I think we do a good job.
I agree with you there.
Well, look at that there. We got some what do you know facts. We got some ratings. We got some favorite parts. We learned this movie is E for everybody.
Learn a bunch of fantastic facts and makes this movie so impactful. What a educational hour you just fucking had. Okay? All right? It was, I don't know what to say here.
Look.
I don't know what to say here.
We're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
We're back. We're in full swing. This year we're going so hard in the paint. Like, it's insane, dog. It's insane. We're down here. We're like a coach in the office studying plays and tape late night, eating sunflower seeds. Okay, maybe we're not doing all that, but sometimes we are. And we're doing research. And like I said, very soon we're going to have a news source out for you boys and girls. So Sloppy Horror is going to be more than just podcasting. We're going to have great horror articles out for you guys. We're going to have some fun giveaways coming out this year.
Yes, we are. We are going to have special editions that will never be made again.
Special edition.
I'm telling you right now. I'm not lying to you. Once that shirt's made, that design's going in the trash, and you're only gonna person that's gonna have that. I'm not even gonna have that shirt.
Yep.
Okay, that's how special it is. But so be on the lookout for contests. Okay, be on the lookout for some new merch that will be coming out here in the next couple months. Okay, this takes time because I have a fucking day job just like Christian Ramey does, so it takes a minute.
Selling crack.
Help us out there. If you like the show, tell your friends and your family and your coworkers and all that.
Yeah, that's
and
big.
Get us hip. Get us hip. That's big. Hey, shut up. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Damn it. Okay, yeah. Just do that. Don't forget about the Discord chat. Yeah, we got the Sloppy Horror, what is that, Gangbang or something called? I don't know what the hell it is.
Swingers Club.
Swingers Club, okay, that's where all you fellow horror fans come meet and discuss horror movie stuffs and your days and whatever it is the hell you guys doing there. But it's a fun time. If you want to join it, just direct message us on any of the platforms and he will give you a link and you can join the fun.
And that's also where the watch parties will be going down. I'm not sure if we're pulling the trigger on Friday or Saturdays, and that might change. I'll probably just give a date list out for everybody, but I want to be pretty regular with that. It's time to bring everybody in together. But what else is big is Spotify just announced that they are doing ratings on their app, which previously they were not. So I don't care what app you guys are on, be it Apple, Spotify, whatever. I mean, we don't really care. Like, we just like that you're listening. That means the world to us. But unfortunately, to the Spotify gods, the Apple Podcast gods, the TikTok gods, all these platforms, they very much appreciate the interactions, the ratings, the likes, the shares, things of that nature. That really tickles their tail feather. And that helps.
Tickles their taint.
Yes, and that helps us out in the long run. So whatever platform you guys are on, if you could just take 30 seconds, I don't care if you even write anything. You could just drop stars. And you guys can give honest reviews. If you guys think we're a 3 out of 5, tell us that. I'm not asking you to pander us, but...
Nah, Doug, I don't care what you write.
Just...
You'd be like, I hate Christian Ramey and love Ozark Mark. Like,
Yep.
all right, I understand that. Mm-hmm. Or I hate Ozark Mark. He's an asshole. Mm-hmm. I don't like his face. Mm-hmm. Tell me that.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, tell us, guys.
Tell us.
Let us know.
Yeah.
So we love you guys so much. We're back. It's going to be in full swing. And obviously, this is the rehab season, baby. These are movies to get you through the hard times. We hope this one does. And we'll be back next week, next Monday, with a banger.
Banger.
Ciao, dog.
What's the hint? Give me a hint of what it is. Give me a hint real quick before I click the thing here. And
Hobbling.
What?
Hobbling.
Hobbling?
Hobbling.
Hobbling?
Hobbling.
Hobbling?
Yes.
That's the hint. Hobbling.
Yep. We're out of here. That's all you're getting. If you know, you know. The hobbling scene.
All right, there you go. Hobbling scene. I'll see you next week.
We're out,
Sexy
babes.
sons of bitches.